I was fired from Global News after 24 years of working there because I was looking for the truth. I'm Anita. Here's some truth. Truth is that Tucker Carlson and his departing, however that came to be, from Fox News has really taken sort of our world by storm, like people who follow him. Because he was like the only guy, I would say, the awake people that follow him. The sleeping people, I don't know what you're watching, probably watching Global News and you're still sleeping. But so Tucker Carlson was one of the only broadcasters on a network, on a major network, who was actually ever telling us anything. He was, and he really was a big supporter of Canadian news because he supported us when our freedom convoy happened, and he put stories on of local business workers who just wanted to keep their shops open. He actually even interviewed the guy that was pulled out of his truck and beaten by the police and told the stories as it should be told. He also covered January 6th as it should be told. He was very much against the Ukraine war, and for very good reason. If anybody wants to look up why, you should go ahead. He covered the pandemic well, and he really openly talked about the media, openly talked about media corruption too, which is a which is a pretty ballsy thing to do when you are working for major network news. So then there were all these reports that Fox News stock went down immediately, and yeah, it did. Just as it and the reason I kind of was questioning it a little bit is because the Dylan Mulvaney person that was advertising for Bud Light, and then the whole huge backlash against that, and the stock in Bud Light fell, and nobody's going to be buying that anymore. They don't want this stuff. I mean, we're all happy. You do what you want. You live your own life. You be who you want to be. But it's like being shoved down your throat too much with like legislation here in BC for like 12-year-olds to decide what they're going to be at 12. Like at 12, you can't even buy a Bud Light. So, like you shouldn't be deciding your gender, things like that's a whole separate issue. But money talks, and people are speaking with their pocketbook, right? And then I did see one report saying that, oh, the Bud Light stock wasn't that bad. And then it had me thinking about Fox. Okay, so was that actually what happened when Tucker was let go? And it is, because all you have to do is Google Fox Corp shares, and this is what you find. So just doing a quick search of Fox Corp here, you can sort of see, you can go back and you can look for yourself day, week, month. And I think it was Monday, April 24th, that the announcement was made about Tucker Carlson. And lo and behold, here's an article right on it. So Fox News stock fell on Monday, knocking $500 million off the company's value after the announcement of Tucker Carlson's immediate departure. Now, this is an article from the Daily Mail. Shares of Fox Corp reached a low of 5.4% before eventually recovering slightly to a loss of 2.9%. The departure of Tucker Carlson, the most popular primetime host on Fox News, who regularly pulled an average in excess of 3 million viewers a night, led to a significant drop in the company's share price Monday. So for Fox to let go of a host that is that highly rated, 3 million people tuning in to his primetime newscast, it makes you think that, like, what is going on? Like, well, we know what's going on, but it's like the corporations and the entities that own them and the entities that are in bed with are more fearful of the money and the funding, and they think that people are just replaceable. So it's just like, this guy's pulling in this rating, you've lost all this money, this is a complete lose for Fox. People are not going to watch Fox. This is the end of Fox as far as I'm concerned. Who's going to replace him? Like Sean Hannity or something? Nobody cares that much because he's not that interesting. There's no one else. What, Morning Joe, like Greg Gutfield? None of these people are really going to make a dent, although Greg Gutfield might have a popular talk show. But for Fox to do this to someone, it just shows the censorship. It shows who's buttering their bread in a way, and who their allegiance is to. So if someone is trying to tell the truth, you're gone. And in a world that we always think that money matters so much, these big corporations are making decisions, shooting themselves in the foot financially, apparently, but still don't care. So there's some other evil driving all of this, as far as I can see. Now, as someone who's worked in the news business for 24 years, not, I mean, behind the scenes, like not to the extent that he did, obviously, but have been around it for a long time, I really related to this one little clip of Tucker on a podcast.
I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the revelation that's changed my life, is the media are part of the control apparatus. Like, there's no, yeah, I know, because you're younger and smarter and you're like, yeah. But what if you're me and you spent your whole life in that world, and to look around and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. Not only are they part of the problem, but I spent most of my life being part of the problem, defending the Iraq war. Like, I actually did that. Can you imagine if you did that?
Well, what do you think? What is one of your biggest regrets in your career?
Oh, defending the Iraq war.
That is it?
Well, I've had a million regrets, not being more skeptical, calling people names when I should have listened to what they were saying. Look, when someone makes a claim, there's only one question that's important at the very beginning, which is the claim true or not?
Mm-hmm.
So I say, you committed murder or you rigged the last election. Before you attack me as a crazy person for saying that, maybe you should explain whether you did it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for too long, I participated in the culture where I was like, anyone who thinks outside these pre-prescribed lanes is crazy, is a conspiracy theorist. And I just really regret that. I'm ashamed that I did that. And partly it was age, partly it was the world that I grew up in. So when you look at me and you're like, yeah, of course they're part of the means of control, I'm like, that's obvious to you because you're 28, but I just didn't see it at all. And I'm ashamed of that.
Isn't that what the media tries to do, though?
It's their only purpose.
Right.
They're not here to inform you, really, even on the big things that really matter, like the economy and war and COVID and like things that really matter that will affect you. No, their job is not to inform you. They are working for the small group of people who actually run the world. They're their servants. They're their Praetorian Guard. And we should treat them with maximum contempt because they have earned it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, sometimes you think about stories we've covered, how we covered certain things, what the agenda was, and maybe the agenda was so soft that we didn't even know that we were covering such an agenda, right? We could be deceived too. You got to go back and look at things like the Iraq War, like Operation Desert Storm, like anthrax, like John Podesta, like what Hillary Clinton is really up to, things like that. Like, you got to look into things about 9/11 and what have you, and just think about how the news presented that to you. So all we have to do is just now maybe think a little harder. And so his world was rocked just as mine was, because we'd been in the business so long. And I think wherever he lands or wherever he goes, everybody's going to follow him. And that's the downfall of Fox News. That's the CNN is already done. Nobody believes him anymore. And that whole Don Lemon thing, whatever, goodbye, bye-bye. No one is going to miss you. So wherever Tucker Carlson lands and whatever venture he decides to start up, whether he decides to do nothing, I'm pretty sure he'll do something. We're going to follow him and we're going to watch him because he had the bravery to bring us the stories that we needed to hear, despite the fact that people were mocking him and that the normal people kind of criticize him and think he's something that he's not. And I don't know if people didn't like him because he wore a bow tie in the past or something. I don't know what it is, but it's like the normies always get on him as some conservative right-wing whack job when he really isn't. But he really isn't. He just brings you the truth as far as we can tell, right? So it takes a lot of bravery to speak the truth like that on the air, on a network. You're the face of the network. And I know that some advertisers wouldn't advertise on his show. Like, don't be chicken. Don't be chicken, but people are chicken, and people want to be so politically correct that they are not morally correct these days. Rachel Maddow, no one's going to watch you. Like, no. Anderson Cooper, you used to be good, and now you're just one big head nodding constantly. So it's going to take a lot. It's going to take years for you to redeem yourself, but you have to want to be redeemed, So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you see, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share. That would help me out a lot. I'm going to try and do more here on YouTube. And you can visit my website, anitakrishna.com, because if you really like what you can see, you can consider donating, and any little bit is very much appreciated. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.